The time now is coming up to 1 a.m. on this day of Thursday, July 14th, 1977, and now stand by for a rather interesting tape recording from the CBS Radio Network.
On the major stories around the world in 1 minute. WCBS will continue with reporters all over the place to keep you up to date on developments. We are, as we say, particularly interested in hearing from Art Athens, who is covering the city command post, where Mayor Beam is hoping to have an update on a timetable for power restoration. We will also, in the next 30 minutes until the duration, be keeping you apprised of all of the different places you can go for help. There are various armories throughout New York City, and also one in Yonkers where you can go, where they have emergency lighting and emergency food. The 911 telephone number in New York, the emergency number, is in operation, but it is very busy, and there is another main number you can call for police or for any type of help, and that's New York Telephone's New York Reports number of 999-1234. So if you keep in mind 911 and 999-1234, they probably will be able to take care of you, but we have several dozen other numbers which we will be reviewing as we continue to cover the blackout and the rest of the world now with CBS News at 1 o'clock. WCBS, New York.
CBS News, an American helicopter with 3 men aboard has been shot down in North Korea. I'm David Jackson reporting on the CBS Radio Network. Confirmation of the incident came from the White House late Wednesday night. Hal Walker reports.
President Carter got the news as he was hosting a black tie dinner for West German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt. The incident occurred at 10:20 p.m. Washington time. National Security Advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski and Defense Secretary Harold Brown were there, as was Presidential News Secretary Jody Powell, who spoke with reporters. Powell said that he could confirm that the helicopter had been shot down, and he said that it was shot down in North Korean airspace, that any violation of that airspace was accidental and regrettable. These were his words at the White House.
We have obviously lost the CBS network broadcast. We'll attempt to reestablish connection, and the technicians will let us know just as soon as that is possible. The top story around the world right now is what the United States is waiting to hear from the North Koreans about the downing of the American cargo helicopter, and, of course, the blackout in New York. I believe we're ready with the CBS News.
Item. As millions of Americans stick to the water this summer, they sometimes forget about two things: their eyes. Because sand glare and chlorine can quickly leave eyes feeling red and irritated. Item. 20/20 eye drops are the only ones to guarantee complete satisfaction, or your money will be refunded by simply returning the bottle. Just read the label. This is John Cameron Swayze for 20/20 eye drops, the guaranteed solution.
I'm Rod Carew, first baseman for the Minnesota Twins. It's almost time for the All-Star Game, baseball's biggest night of the summer. I hope you'll be listening for the action Tuesday night, July 19th.
Rod Carew of the Twins. Sportscasters Vin Scully and Brent Musburger will have exciting CBS Radio sports coverage of the All-Star Game direct from Yankee Stadium. Listen for it Tuesday night, July 19th. It's baseball's biggest night of the summer, the All-Star Game, over many of these CBS Radio network stations.
New York City Mayor Abraham Beam says some electric power may be restored in scattered sections of the city within an hour or two. This after a major blackout that pulled the plug on most of the city and suburbs in Westchester County and Long Island at 9:34 Eastern Time Wednesday night. A state of public emergency was declared. Off-duty police and firemen called back to work. But CBS Newsman Sam Ford says there's been trouble in a part of the borough of Brooklyn.
It is a wild place. There is chaos here. No control at all as people run from store to store, looting, breaking windows, and there have even been some shots fired. People are now opening up their trunks, putting merchandise into it. People are running around the place. You can hear burglar alarms all over. Earlier, there were around 20 riot-helmeted policemen, but they decided to give up, and now there is no one here, and people are going wild. This is Sam Ford, CBS News in Brooklyn.
New York police report some 140 arrests have been made in the borough of Manhattan. CBS News correspondent Jerry Landay was at home on Roosevelt Island when the blackout occurred. That's in the East River between Manhattan and the borough of Queens. He trekked into the broadcast center on the west side of Manhattan.
This is part of what one person experienced and saw on a reluctant odyssey across town. First, 8 floors down a pitch-dark staircase. How? Very, very carefully. In the main street before the apartment house, fire rescue units helping cases of cardiac arrest and a bleeding ulcer to the hospital. At the end of a bridge, a large bus where it crashed into an abutment, blocking the access road. Nearby in the dark, hissing steam from one of the city's main powerhouses. The steam venting with no generator to drive, power with no place to go. On the bridge, a solid procession of headlights leaving town. It's a ghost city, the famed Manhattan skyline merely a study in black on black. I rather like New York without those endless one-minute traffic lights, especially with citizen volunteers at most intersections, really moving traffic. All you need, a flashlight, a tireless arm, and a big dose of community spirit. There were regular cops at the other crossings, and yet at others, you were on your own. After the 1965 blackout, they told us they had devised a system that couldn't go wrong again. It did. Jerry Landay, CBS News, New York.
More news after this.
I guess I'm lucky. My family's always been healthy. Oh, a touch of constipation now and then. But we've got X-Lax for that.
When you need a laxative, shouldn't your first choice be the one more families buy than any other? That's today's X-Lax. Families like the chocolated taste. You'll like the way X-Lax works, gently overnight for relief in the morning. Next time, make gentle chocolated X-Lax your first choice for occasional use only as directed.
We've always been healthy, and X-Lax is part of that.
I'm Fred Graham, CBS News law correspondent. Every Saturday on The Law and You, I take up some phase of the legal process and explain how it works, or examine certain rulings which may be controversial. We talk about new laws, famous cases won and lost, new governmental action. Sometimes discussing inequities and analyzing what can be done to correct them. All sorts of helpful information which may be important to you and your family. Join me for The Law and You every Saturday on the CBS Radio Network.
The Senate Wednesday night passed an amendment withholding funds for the neutron bomb project until President Carter says development of the weapon is in the nation's interest. David Jackson, CBS News.
And a very good morning to you, even though it may not be. This is Bill Fayen for News 88. WCBS News Time is 1:06 as we continue in the throes of a blackout here in New York City. You've been hearing all about that, and of course you will continue to hear more about it as the situation develops, and we'll be passing along any developments. I guess the most immediate thing that we might say as far as the blackout is concerned, that we are waiting and thinking that perhaps at any time we're going to get more word from Mayor Beam at City Hall concerning the emergency status. We heard, I guess it's been about an hour and 20 minutes ago, that Con Ed did have some hope of within the hour. Actually, we are past that particular point right now, but Con Ed did express some hope that they would start to be able to restore a service. I would doubt very much if you're going to see the whole city light up again in one big splurge like the 4th of July. But anyway, that was the hope. And we have still not seen or heard of any restoration of power in New York City or those areas of Westchester County which are without power. But as we said, we are waiting and hoping, and there is supposed to be new or at least late word coming from City Hall at any given time. We'll be getting back into the power situation now. Let's talk about the weather situation for just a moment. It is a mostly clear night for the most part, and hopefully, considering everything else that's going on, it will, as the forecast calls for, from Dr. Bob Harris, become a bit less humid. Our low this overnight period is supposed to range between 68 and 75 degrees. And then, although it is going to remain hot, we should have a bit of a better day ahead of us once we start seeing that bright sunshine that Bob Harris says is going to be around. Because although the temperatures will still be up there somewhere between 88 and 94 degrees, Bob is saying that he thinks the humidity is going to lower considerably. If you'd like to look ahead one more day, hazy sunshine, hot and becoming humid once again, let's hope all the power is restored by then on Friday. Right now, or as far as our guest is concerned, let's be honest about it. All of our lines are down because of the electrical blackout. We don't really know what the temperature is in New York City, and we don't have our own thermometer right here.
I think 80.
Yeah, I guess 80. That's Greg Baker. And Greg, what is the most immediate thing that perhaps you have that we can deal with now?
Well, what we'd really like to hear from very soon, and of course we'll have to wait till he's ready for it, and that's Mayor Beam's word on power restoration. We are expecting a news briefing shortly. At the moment, we have News 88's Walt Wheeler.